So one of my fellow Diva Search members, I guess I should say, was Maria, and I don't have one bad thing to say about her. She's great, and you know, all the years that we were there together, which was pretty much both of our entire careers on the road, not one altercation, not one difference, not one. We got along really well, and that all started through the Diva Search. Obviously, neither one of us won, but I remember watching RAW a few weeks after the Diva Search ended when the King was on commentary and mentioned that one of the Diva Search cast-offs was going to be making their debut on RAW, and they opened up the magazine and it was Maria, and I got so excited for her. Excuse me. I was so happy that, you know, her dream was coming true, because, you know, she was one of the few that actually had followed wrestling, and she made no qualms about wanting to be an announcer. So I thought that was awesome. You know, she ended up with the ditzy gimmick for a while, which people don't realize she's not ditzy. She's actually extremely smart, business-wise, very savvy, and I admire that about her. She was on RAW most of the time, and I was on SmackDown. There were, you know, several crossover shows where we got to work together, and then eventually we got to work together on SmackDown when she got drafted. And she was a fun babyface to work against. She could sell like crazy. The fans always got behind her. You know, she was that underdog, and she was cool. She was all about business. She, you know, got it. She was willing to make sacrifices. She was willing to, you know, she understood that, which sometimes people can't always understand. You know, she understood that as a top babyface, she was going to get beat up. You know, she was going to end up being able to return the favor, but she was never one who was like, all I'm doing is getting beat up. All I'm doing is, you know, whatever. So she was fun to work. I really enjoyed working with her. We had some good matches. You know, everybody always said she's not a wrestler, she shouldn't do this, she shouldn't do that, but I think it's all about working together and working on people's strengths and feeding off their strengths instead of trying to expose their weaknesses. And I think that's just what you have to do. So we ended up working. She was actually one of the first people that helped out with the flawless gimmick. I remember sitting in the locker room, and we started talking about it, and she was cracking up, and she's like, that's great, y'all should do this, y'all should do that, y'all could do this, you could do that. So she was really helpful in the making of McCool, and I thank her for that. But we had some matches overseas. We, like I said, worked together. We never had a long stint. As far as storyline goes, she was involved in the Piggy James storyline a lot, you know, which led to a bunch of tags, which led to her smashing a big, huge cake in our face to the point where we couldn't breathe, which was great. I mean, I enjoyed the frosting personally. But Maria's cool. She's a good worker. She's a hard worker. She was committed. And I was sad to see her go. I don't know that we've seen the last of her. And I hope to see her again sometime, because I miss her, and I think she's going to do big things. Oh, not to mention the fact that I forgot, I think it was Maria that I turned heel on. And when I turned heel, I think I gave her a pretty good beating, and she took it like a champ, an absolute champ. So that was fun. She helped in the turn of Michelle McCool, and I remember Arn Anderson used to always say, "You can't be a heel. Why are they turning you? I don't want you to turn." No, and then he ended up coming back and going, "Why were you always a babyface? You should have always been a heel, you know." And so Maria helped in that. Like I said, she took a beating like a champ, and helped the fans. You know, you always want that one person where if you're going to make a turn, you want to make the biggest impact possible, which at the time, you know, beating down Maria was making the biggest impact possible. So that was fun. And, you know, I knew I liked her in the Diva Search. And then I remember watching the DVD from, I don't even remember what DVD it was. But anyway, she ended up giving me a shout out and, you know, saying something about my body and you know, how cool she thought I was. And I was like, all right, I knew I liked this girl. And the friendship formed, and the friendship has not ended, and I don't think it ever will.